Good morning, Zach. How are we doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So I understand that you are about to relaunch your podcast. And the idea of that is you're going to be interviewing guests. But for the first one, you're kind of in the hot seat a little bit.
Yeah.
Listeners are going to get to know a little bit about you and England injury law and the why and the how.
Yeah, we're going to turn the tables.
That's
awesome. The plan.
So I love a good tagline, marketing background. Zach's got your back. That's pretty catchy. Your name's in the tagline. Tell us a little bit about who truly has our back. Tell us a little bit about Zack England.
Yeah. So one thing that's funny on that tagline is I definitely didn't love it at first. I'm not even sure I liked it, but a buddy of mine had pitched it just kind of, I think, just brainstorming. And I remember thinking, we were out to lunch and it's like, I don't know, man, maybe. And then the more we kind of kicked it around and thought about it, the more we just kind of gravitated to it. So that has been the tagline. And so we've tried to embrace it and kind of tried to make it sort of our identity of the firm for, customer service and always trying to, I guess, stand behind and in front of our clients. So it's worked out.
Well, and from what I've seen, you're out and about everywhere. I mean, whether it's an event that you guys have attend or in the community, Zach is there. So customers, clients, just the community are getting to meet Zach, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, we've tried to be intentional with that and not just talk it, but walk it. It's super easy to, kind of get up in front of somebody or a group and say, yeah, we're super involved in the community or kind of play the local card, but we wanted to be able to back it up. I've got a buddy who's also an attorney and he told me his wife had asked him jokingly if I ever worked because I was always in the community. So I always, when I see them, I ask if she can do an interview to, put that on the record. So it's kind of been an inside joke.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
England injury law, a couple of years. How long have you guys been kind of established here in this beautiful location here on Chestnut?
Yeah. So I guess truly, I've been independent now coming up on 6 years, but I was previously of counsel with a firm. And so I think for true optics and branding, we're coming up on 2.5 years of England injury law. And in this building now, just over 2 years, it's gone by really quick, but it's been a fast journey.
Fast 2 years.
Yeah.
What made you plant roots and do your own thing here in the Scenic City? What drew you to Chattanooga? Yeah,
initially, obviously I was born and raised here, and the firm that I was at previously, I had a great experience there, super grateful for the mentors over there and really the friends that I still have and talk to quite frequently. But about 10-ish years ago, I felt like I was kind of seeing the writing on the wall that I wasn't sure I was ever going to fully develop. And I was going to hit a ceiling, I thought, from a career standpoint. And so I kind of started wrestling, agonizing, whatever you want to call it, on leaving, excuse me. And COVID hit. I'd started to kind of flirt with the group that I ended up joining of counsel, and COVID hit, and it kind of oddly enough streamlined some things. It kept, cases were stalled in court, and so it allowed me to start to push through and resolve a lot of cases, and to kind of provide a financial foundation for maybe going out. And so I actually left my first firm right in the middle of COVID, summer of 20. And so I guess if there was a silver lining of COVID for me, it was that it kind of became a unintentional springboard to kind of launch my career.
And thinking of, so the team you have here, I've gotten to know many of them. They're great. They're not only established in their careers, but established with you well beyond those 2.5 years, right? Like you've known many of them for quite a long time. Is that correct?
Yeah, in several different ways. So when I left my old firm, my intention was not to take a file with me, not to take any staff. I didn't want to be, accused or
didn't want to poach people.
That's right. I didn't want to be characterized as doing some power play, mafia move and gutting the firm. And so I said, I'm out. And frankly, if I'd taken, every file with me and every staff member, I don't think it would have mattered. I was stressing over how that was going to be perceived. So
Yeah.
fast forward, I leave, and I remember walking in the hallway. My office was upstairs, and just thinking like, God, there's nobody to there's nobody to talk to. This really is kind of starting from scratch a little bit,
A little
and
lonely.
yeah, and very quickly, I'm making it more dramatic than it was. But very quickly, I realized I need some help. And so
Yeah.
we had debated with the new firm about bringing some staff over, and ultimately we didn't. And so I went to them and said, yeah, A, I'm incompetent on these files, but B, it's going to be a problem. So I'm reaching out to my old paralegal, like it or love it, and talked with her. And she was also, and her name's Madison. She's now our director of operations. And Madison was kind of caught in limbo as to whether she was going to stay at my old firm, where was she going to work, who was she going to work for, and then ultimately, I guess I recruited or poached her over. I did
It's good
reach out to
coaching.
both my bosses and say, here's what I'm doing. I'm just giving you a heads up, out of courtesy. But and they were very professional and understanding, and so she was the first edition.
Well, and that's common practice in a lot of businesses, but I think it
Yeah.
says a lot about your leadership too, that you have that many people wanting to come over and take the leap. It's a startup of a sense, while it's something you've done for what, 18 years almost,
Almost, yeah.
still a startup, but to see people that tenure coming over, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Zach, take me back to law school days. What prompted you to go to law school? And then what was it about personal injury that really drew you to go into that field?
Yeah, so I had not had any real intention to go to law school early on. I remember having a conversation with my dad. I think I was a senior in high school, and he was sort of just asking what I wanted to do, and I really didn't know. And he had mentioned that he thought law school would be a good option, and also said you don't have to be an attorney when you go to law school, and gave the probably what was then the very common example of John Grisham, who was an accomplished author who did practice but wasn't, I guess, a full-time attorney. And so I remember thinking that's pretty cool if I don't have to be locked into a career. And so I think I declared pretty early to be a pre-law major when I was at UTC, and so I just kind of had an assumption that I was going to go. I couldn't do any math, science, chemistry, so that made a decision a lot easier. So
Narrowed it down for
yeah,
you.
the English major stuck because I couldn't do anything else. And then fortunately, I was able to get accepted into Cincinnati Law School, and there was at the time a pretty exclusive or unique, I should say, scholarship between the Rock City Foundation and family and Cincinnati. So that also kind of made the decision for me. And so I really I don't want to say I blundered into it, but I just kind of drifted into it. I always thought I was going to do it, and it just kind of flowed from there.
That's awesome. You
Yeah.
think about something, some people have direct, clear vision,
Right.
but to kind of fall into something that you seem so comfortable, that it seems such a big part of you, and that it kind of happened that way. You talked about Rock City and those kind of opportunities. I know that as you look at England injury law, giving back to the community, there's a number of ways you do that. How the community poured into you, how does that translate now to what you're able to do for the community?
Yeah, I think it really kind of provides a level of gratitude that is easy to, I think, overlook when you're receiving it, but it's also easy to overlook when you should be giving it out. So it's kind of a reinforcement too that I'm grateful and we're grateful for what this community has done. When I first came back to Chattanooga, I was out of law school. I was young. I was definitely immature. I was arrogant, and I thought that in a way I was too big to come back to this city because I'd been in a bigger city in a law school, and I just thought, I'm just here, and maybe I need to do bigger and better things. But I was quickly humbled and quickly, I think, sort of leveled out to appreciate what this city has done from a family centered optic, and really kind of, so much of my family is here, and what I should be grateful for. And so I really kind of came to embrace the city more. It also grew. Chattanooga has really improved, obviously, over the last 20 plus years. And so in a true testament to my old firm as well, they were very, very community driven and active. And so I do need to give them credit because I think they helped reinforce some of those ideas and values that I may not have had fully, had I not been with them. And so we really just tried to, I guess, springboard from that base. And a lot of the staff that we've brought on and the team has also been community driven as well and community active. So I think it's been kind of a combination of us from a community standpoint in the firm, thinking of ideas and everybody being on board and receptive to participating. It's been such a giver's gain, for lack of a better cliche term. We've poured in, but we've also had so much poured back into us. So it's been a very reciprocal relationship, I guess.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyone who follows your social media, your LinkedIn, but certainly England Injury Law can see you guys are focused on working with educators with a number of different community groups. One that I know is near and dear to your heart and is to me as well, Special Olympics and the Down syndrome community. Could you talk a little bit about the work that England Injury Law does, but really what you've done with that group and what that group means to you?
Yeah, that's probably been one of our linchpin focuses, and it's definitely been, if not one of the most gratifying experiences being with this firm, but also in the community. About 10 plus years ago, I'd reached out to a buddy of mine, Jacob Jarvis, who still is involved heavily with the Special Olympics, both in Chattanooga and with Chattanooga Christian School, where my kids go. Jake at the time was directly involved with Special Olympics, and I had reached out and said, "Hey, I'd love to help you on some of your basketball stuff that you do," because we had known each other playing pickup and church league basketball, and so I thought that would be an easy transition, I guess, or something to do. And so I just kind of jumped in and sort of got told what to do, and would bring my kids when they were little to help watch and play. A lot of times I was picking them up from school and taking them on for the events. And so that really just kind of morphed into, we do a regional tournament, then we do a state level tournament. And so it's twice a year. So there's kind of a consistent schedule that allowed me and us to develop and foster these relationships with the participants and the parents and the representatives. And so a lot of it was done through Chattanooga Therapeutic Rec, which is I think a city funded organization. And Elaine Adams and some of that group have always been very receptive and helpful. And so I think the biggest thing has not been just the experience directly with the players. They're obviously super grateful. And this Therapeutic Rec, I think one thing that's so neat is that it's all ages, it's all demographics. And so you got people who were, male, female, old, young, all various levels of athletic ability and social ability to bond with. But I think one thing, I was thinking about this the other day, one of the most rewarding things has been the gratitude of the parents and the representatives who, to be frank, don't have a lot of resources or outlets for
support, probably.
Or support, babysitting, childcare, just any recreational hobbies. And so to constantly or consistently talk with them, and they say, "Hey, we're glad you're doing this. This is such a great break when it's Tuesday night and it's freezing and it's 6 p.m. and you're kind of forced to either just sit around or not have an option." Something like this is just great for repetition and community and social engagement. So I think that's been the most unintended, but probably the most rewarding experience has been the gratitude and the relationships for those who aren't directly involved, but are in the family community.
And I imagine too, you talked about your kids being there, having your family, but staff here and others, people like me who see it kind of from the outside, but then start to get involved, want to learn more about the buddy walk or how we can volunteer. I think that's the reach there really kind of has a ripple effect, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how long have you been coaching Special Olympics now?
11, 12 years. I was trying to do the math on that. It's gone by quick for sure. And it does something you mentioned. It probably, I get the most questions or comments or encouragement on the Special Olympics and the Down syndrome board and those events, probably from anybody that maybe I don't talk to every day, but will say, "Hey, I see your stuff with Special Olympics or the basketball team, and I think that's awesome. So that definitely stands out as probably our most recognized service.
Well, and again, it's great because there's that side of you're funding, you're helping sponsor, so you're giving financially, but you're also giving time. And I think that's what's really, really impactful and really, really helpful.
Yeah.
Tell me this. What legacy do you hope England Injury Law leaves?
Man, it's a heavy question.
Yeah. I'll follow up with a lighter one, so don't worry.
That's right. Yeah. I would definitely hope that we would continue to strive to be client oriented, because frankly, we've had to be that role when you're competing with larger guerrilla and a lot of times larger out of town firms that are forced to treat a client as a claim number or a call center product. We've wanted to overly, serve the client. I forget what's the book, the radical hospitality, or I'm butchering that, but just trying to go above and beyond. And so I'm hoping too that we're able to maintain not only a local feel, but a very accessible and transparent approach, that people feel welcomed here. Obviously, technology and time sometimes dictates efficiency to where people are more apt to, do an online sign up, or in this digital world, there's a lot that you can do from a distance. But I never want clients to feel like they can't come see us. They can't come engage with us, both in the office, in the community. So really just I guess I use the term servant leadership, but from a client-centered focus, that we're a engaging and transparent firm that's always trying to help in any way that we can, 100% of the time.
You didn't ask me my opinion, but I'll share it anyway, because that's what I do. I think just having been in the office a couple of times and seeing you guys out in the community, I think that legacy is something you're already starting to set. And I think, when you hear personal injury attorneys and there's billboards, it's a group that advertises heavily all over the place. But I think one thing that's hard to capture in a billboard or online is how welcome you feel here. There's someone at a desk who's welcoming you and getting the person, and they're meeting you or one of your other attorneys, but there's a conversation there, and you're not a number, you're not a claim. And I think having that ability to sit down with someone as comfortable as you and I are now, I think is something that you guys do so well. And I think for the community, it's something that is needed, but it's also very welcoming. So I think that you're checking that box already. So
yeah, I appreciate
maybe
that.
Buy your team lunch and tell them thanks. But
That's right. That's
no,
right.
I think that you're really setting that well. So I know probably the viewers can't see what I can see on the walls here, but there's some sports jerseys. So tell me a little bit about sports, your love of sports, and does that play into whether it's community involvement or just anything about you? Because I think it's interesting. And there's some unique jerseys here that I don't typically see in this area as much.
Yeah, and some of the jersey decorations were my wife's idea, and I sort of got those, some intentional, some sort of unintentional. So I was
Eric Berry makes sense, Tennessee.
Yeah, and one of the stories on this, if I remember correctly, it's kind of embarrassing, but it was a learning experience. Eric Berry, who's a phenomenal former Tennessee football player and in the pros with a great story, I believe he had come to Chattanooga to speak or just make a presence, either through with FCA or Boyd Buchanan. I know where you went, and my old firm, and Mark Warren there has a huge tie to Boyd Buchanan. And so to kind of fast forward this conversation, I had come in the office and I'd not even been to my office yet. I'd gone because I'd seen a headline that Eric Berry had come into town, and I went in and sort of like half jokingly, probably half selfishly, had said like, "Hey, thanks for the heads up. We could have gone and seen Eric Berry play or talk or whatever." And I remember my boss kind of looking at me, kind of half thought I was kidding, half wasn't sure. And so I leave his office and I walk into my office, and there's an Eric Berry signed jersey with a note that said,
Wow.
"Zach, congrats. I think we just built a house. He's like, congrats on the new house. Hope this is a nice housewarming gift. So I felt like a total, you know what?
Yeah. And you kind of manifested it.
I mean, definitely stepped into it. And
yeah.
had I just gone to my office first and seen the jersey, maybe I would have had a little more gratitude. Yeah. So anyway, we had that framed, and so it's kind of been here ever since. And then
Rodman's over my shoulder.
Yeah, the Dennis Rodman jersey was actually a gift from my buddy who had moved overseas and was needing to kind of, I think, dump some furniture and paraphernalia, so to speak. So he gifted this to me and said, "Hey, I saw you're doing this in your office. Let me just give this to you." And so Rodman is one of my favorite athletes. I think he's definitely polarizing and probably misunderstood to some degree. But I said, I think oddly enough, I did a celebrity presentation project in high school, I think my sophomore year, and I did Dennis Rodman. He had just come out with his book, and so I dressed up and did all the stuff that he does. But so these are, I want to try to add to this with some other jerseys and stuff that I think would help kind of really make the room. But sports are a big hobby, a big outlet for me. I am a marginal athlete at best. I could have potentially walked on to play tennis at UTC. When I say walked on, the coach said, "Yeah, we don't mind you coming on, but
you're not that bad.
You're not going to play. Don't ask for any money. Keep your grades up, and maybe
hold these rackets.
Maybe you can ride on the bus with us." So I kind of thought, well, that might be a little more work than I'm interested in doing. So I still play, occasional pickup basketball, coach my son in some sports, play a little golf, and just try to keep somewhat active. But I am most of my sports teams, my wife jokingly says that, we're just a glutton for punishment. Most of them consistently underachieve and don't deliver. So I'm kind of stuck with them and loyal anyway.
That's okay.
But it consumes a lot of my free time is watching sports. So
you mentioned tennis. Have you gotten on the pickleball train yet? Are you pro pickleball or are you anti? Because it seems very polarizing.
Yeah, it is.
Tennis players either love it or hate it.
Yeah, I've really, and I've kind of been in the middle. I've played it a few times. I liked it. I didn't love it. I've not really played much outside, and I think a lot of my initial pickleball was inside on a gymnasium floor, and I just didn't really pick up to it. So my father plays it all the time. I've got a family in Cleveland who play all the time and love it. They're obsessed with it, and so I've not embraced it yet. I do hit tennis fairly occasionally with one of the guys at Maker Patton, who's a older guy, but still is just a machine. And he just says, "I can't, I'm too pure in tennis. I can't embrace it." So I'm kind of right on the fence. I think I'll start playing it more as time goes on. There's a few facilities who are opening up downtown, and so I think I'll have the chance to play it. So I'm cautiously optimistic that I'll be open to it. And I'll be honest, as I age and slow down, sometimes rapidly, I could see pickleball becoming more and more of a hobby for me.
My husband has gotten into it. I've barely, although I'm highly competitive, so I'm already over here. Like I've played like twice, and I'm like, "Oh, let's go play. We'll put money on it," because that's just what I do.
Yeah.
All right. What do you love to do in your off time when you're not working here, running a business in the community, coaching basketball? What do you love to do?
I do watch sports. We get on the lake quite a bit, so I like to boat around. Not be active. I'm not a skier. I'm not a wakeboarder or anything.
But you drive it. That's an important integral role for people like me who want to be doing flips off the back and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't. I would love to do that stuff. I've just if there's a worse skier, than me, I want to meet them. I'm really like I'm unreasonably bad. I should not be this terrible. I can't figure out why. I'm also not a very good
you just haven't found the right water sport for you yet.
Yeah, I think it rhymes with just tubing. So I know my role in that. Outside of that too, I do a lot of podcasts. Big podcast guy of various stuff, just to kind of pass the time if I'm walking the dogs or driving. So do a lot of those. There's not a tremendous amount of downtime. I tell people when I'm not a lawyer, I'm married with 2 kids, so that consumes a lot of my social life.
And 2 active kids.
Two very active kids, yeah.
All right, couple of rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Real important, real integral to law. What is your favorite junk food? Like binge-worthy junk food?
Probably I think ice cream. It's become a point of contention. I'm always telling my wife we need to DoorDash some ice cream or get some, and she says no. I don't really have a sweet tooth. I didn't used to anyway, but definitely I think now ice cream.
Okay, brand.
Has taken it.
Are you like a local Clumpies guy? Is it really it's a flavor and you could care less the brand?
There's a Brewster's right near our house that gets hit up a lot. And it's expensive, I feel like, but I still go. So I'll eat it anywhere, any brand. I'm not super picky.
Brewster's key lime pie might be in my freezer right now.
It's delicious. Yeah, that's great. So I'm gonna go with Brewster's. Keep it local.
There we go. You know, Jenny's is going in.
I saw that.
In St. Elmo. So there's a new thing to try. Just to be a good community partner, you should go try it.
My kids being at CCS, I'm down there all the time, so I'm going to start. I'm going to support the community. You're right, and go to Jenny's.
You're so selfless. I love it. Yeah. All right, if you could snap your fingers right now and be anywhere on earth, where would you love to be?
Probably, I'll go with the BVI's. We're thinking about doing a trip there pretty soon. So I'd like to be on a catamaran or something like that in the BVI's.
Yeah. I have not been to the BVI's, but I have been to St. John a couple times, and I have
close enough
lovely recommendations there. Okay. All right, superpower. If you could have one, what would it be?
I've kicked this around. I would probably. I'd like to teleport.
Okay.
Because I was just thinking the other day, my kids are looking at a school trip next year. At least my daughter is, and I think one of the trips is to South Africa. Oh, wow. And I think the flight's like 15 hours. And I remember thinking, I just did a flight from Paris back, and that was long enough. I'd like to, and I don't want to do the 15-hour flight, so I'd like to be able to teleport.
You know, it's a good option. Just send me with her. I'll happily do the flight and go to South Africa. That'll be fine. Sure. I think we would get into a lot of good travels.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Absolutely.
What is one thing, as we kind of wrap up here, one thing that you would love for listeners and viewers to know about England injury law that we haven't covered? I feel like we've covered it pretty well, but what's one thing you would love to kind of leave them with?
This may sound a little, I don't know, selfish or self-serving. Sometimes people, I feel like they see us having fun, but don't realize how much goes on behind the scenes. And that may sound a little, just again, immature or what's the word I'm looking for. But I hope that people realize that I heard a guy say that people see the after, they don't see the before. So there's so much brainstorming and accountability that goes in to some of this stuff on the front end that, and I'm not saying it from my perspective, but I hope that people could really see what really goes on to make this place work. And I mean, I know it's probably all businesses, but there's really a lot that goes in on the front end to kind of make this place fun and enjoyable, but a hospitable environment for clients. So, yeah.
I think that's a great one. It involves each and every one of your team, and they work
definitely
really hard on a daily basis. So lovely. Well, thanks for letting me grill you with questions.
Yeah.
And good luck on the relaunch of your podcast.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Have a great Friday.
You too.